Watch out! Here comes
Taste of pure
Scooby-Doo!
milk chocolate.
Exactly. To make a little intro, to create, to put together a compilation intro, using archived commercials and little clips of just these things. To do that, yeah, we did that. We've got a little bit of a schedule here, some things to hit on, a movie to speak about that I've been diving fully in, just watching as much as possible besides like new releases, things that I want to watch, watching straight up Halloweeny things, horror adjacent material, okay? What we'll notice on a typical YouTube journey is that things will change, things will progress. This microphone I have now in, I was like thinking, how disgusting. I mean, when don't, if I see a YouTube video and there's like dust all over the goddamn mic, it's like, ugh. There's like a giant piece of hair sticking out of like the fluffy part of the microphone, this foam piece. I've got a Shure microphone that I have ordered. There actually is dust that you'll notice. I worked the best I could. Hello. I ordered this microphone because I heard it was a good one. And then I see like professional grade podcasters and such using this one. Actually, literally using, listen, watch. Literally actually going like this. See, there is a tripod situation with this, but I've seen on TikTok. I'm actually referring to Straw Hat Goofy, everyone. He has taken on his whole thing. I think a lot of the TikTokers do like this thing with a little like earphone mic that I never quite hopped on, because honestly, like from the start, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but from the start for me, like I just used my phone mic and it always worked out fine. In fact, that's actually still what I do. And like it seems crisp and clear. Okay, that took long, but okay, I see Straw Hat Goofy now and he's literally just like this. I've seen in general podcasters straight up just going like this. And I'm sure this sounds absolutely crisp right now, but to get it I want an arm, one of those arms to hook onto the side of a desk, and what it does is it comes over, and that way it can just be like here. With this situation, with this situation, there's like settings. Why am I running all this down? So a couple things, a couple updates. First of all, I have a little bit of a haul here, physical media wise. Things I was like, did I show these last time? But a couple that are like pretty new. And then I haven't showed any of these things. First of all, I got sent from Utopia, Give Me Pity. This one is from 2022. Got released in 2023, most definitely. But it is from Amanda Kramer, who just recently, this was like 2-in-1 from Amanda Kramer. She made Please Baby Please, Carl Glusman, and well, you know him from, Andrea Riseborough, and Dudley. To just call him Dudley is a little bit of a disrespectful thing. He is a serious actor, and to not know his Harry Melling. The main actress here, she looks like Bette Midler a little bit. But it's like a variety show. She's doing a live show, and then it takes like a descent into hell, takes like a scary turn. It's a bit of a horror movie, I think. Psychedelic nightmare of vanity, insecurity, and delusional ambition, provoked by the glowering presence of a mysterious masked man. Secondly, I went to my favorite movie place, used movie store, and I found this Vinegar Syndrome release of Berserker. And this slipcase has actually been sold out, but I got this in the wild with a slipcase, $13. Sometimes at this place I go to, there's Vinegar Syndrome titles, and they're usually $13, sometimes cheaper depending. I've never seen this one. I love the cover so much. It's some kind of, it's definitely like, a slasher out in a campground. There's a Norwegian... Wait, I said Norwegian. Sorry, I notice when I do this, I'm covering the mic and things aren't being heard. But listen, a group of friends have set out on a camping trip in a rural part of Utah. Although warned by kindly Norwegian immigrant Pappy Nyquist of a series of recent killings, supposedly the result of a bear, the campers are undeterred and decide to spend the night outdoors, getting drunk and sharing stories of, here we go, berserkers, ruthlessly violent Viking warriors who wore bear skins and snouts. Not long after pairing off for romantic escapades, so the typical fair, I'm assuming here. I know exactly what to expect, and I'm excited because I like these camping slasher movies. They find themselves terrorized and ripped apart by a large and violent bear. But is it actually a bear? Well, they said by a large and violent bear. So hey, you said it was a bear. But is it actually a bear? Or perhaps a real life berserker who has somehow been transported to the 20th century? So I'm guessing it's the latter. You're telling us. 1987. Is anyone in this? Not that I recognize, but it's a really cool cover. This right here, the berserker itself looking thing, or just like, I guess actually more just like a person screaming. We're gonna swiftly go through these. I have a Saturn's Core haul. Saturn's Core shot on video movies, a label that I love so much. This is At Dawn They Sleep, one of their more recent releases from, whoopsies, from, listen please, 1999. This one I had my eye on for a really long time. Red Cockroaches from 2004, I think. 2003. Excited to check this out. I love the cover so much. This one's like a techie, takes place in like a future techie world. Burglar from Hell. Love this so much. Very excited to check this out. And this is actually another shot on video movie, but it's from Agfa and Bleeding Skull called Jungle Trap, and then also Run Coyote Run. Okay, and this is super cool from Retro Release Video. Ennis, Maine. A collaboration with Neon. This is like a officially licensed VHS tape of the movie. Ennis, Maine, a folky kind of folky horror, I will say, but it's more just like this like it's one of those things where if I say folk horror movie and you go in thinking that's what it's going to be, it might disappoint, because it's more Mark Jenkin. He made Bait in 2019, which is like one of my favorite movies from the last couple of years. It's just this very textured, shot on film, experimental piece. It just like, it creates this really interesting atmosphere, just the way things are put together, edited together. Otherworldly is the word, and this is very much so that. This one emulating like a 1970s, 1970s horror movie. Aesthetically, that is what's happening here. Ghosts of the past haunting this woman who is on this island alone. But this VHS right here, it's really cool because Mark Jenkin, the director, he like talks a little bit beforehand about just like this and the movie itself. I got a recent VHS TV combo, a really small one that I love so much. I got it on the Facebook Marketplace, and I'll show a clip. I recorded some video of this. And then finally, I got the Out There Halloween Mega Tape. This is the sequel to the WNUF Halloween Special. The Out There Halloween Mega Tape, yeah. This I saw at Midsummer Scream last year, like they were doing a screening of it. The director, Chris LaMartina, and his wife were there, and it was just a super fun experience, and for some reason, I didn't buy it. Like, he had a table there, and I wanted to buy it, but it just didn't happen. But I ordered this from the website, which is the only place you can get it. It's not streaming anywhere. Whereas the first one played as a Halloween special that actually aired on TV, this one plays as like one of those catalogs you'd order from, like a bootleg VHS catalog that you'd order from. This one's Trader Tony's Tape Dungeon. And this is basically like a collection that he made of different Halloween specials kind of mashed together. There's like a Ricky Lake-esque talk show. There's this alien expose. Actually, I think those are the two. And then let's go ahead and take a look at Terror Vision in their 13 weeks of Halloween. We are in full swing. We'll go ahead and look at what was announced last week, and then we'll look at what was announced today as I'm recording, Tuesday. Every single Tuesday, just to recap, Terror Vision, company that releases Blu-rays, they release vinyls, they release cassettes, horror movies, genre movies, horror, mostly horror things, horror adjacent things. So last week we talked about Lost in the 80s, the Joe Zasso collection, which sounds really cool, really awesome. I actually found on YouTube, if you just go to his channel or look up his name, he has posted these if you want to get a little bit of a taste for what they are. I have yet to watch, but they're just like these, homemade with his friends, shot on video horror movies that look really fun. Last week they announced America's Deadliest Home Video. It is from 1993. It says, when Doug ventures out on a road trip, he packs his home video camera expecting to film his adventures. Unexpectedly, he runs into three criminals led by Dreyer, who abduct the vacationer and force him to turn his lens on their atrocious blood-spilling exploits. Will Doug remain a victim, or will he succumb to the madness and lose himself in the murderous mayhem? TerraVision is proud to release America's Deadliest Home Video, one of the most unappreciated shot-on-video films ever made, and then also announced coming to Blu-ray all jacked up and full of worms. Now, this one just came out in 2022. I watched it through a virtual film fest. I think it might have been like Popcorn Frights or something like that. And yeah, it was interesting. It was gross, slimy. It made me feel dirty. Or definitely what it was going for. Essentially, a group of desperate people find these hallucinatory worms. Worms acting as drugs, okay? And then the newest announcement, The Head from 2019 is coming to Blu-ray. Now, this one I had never heard of, but in looking on Twitter, the director I actually have followed on Twitter. Michael Keane is the director of this. This comes with a number of special features, and I might check this out like beforehand. So this week I watched a very light-hearted Halloween-y movie. Something that's been on radar thanks to Severin Films releasing it on Blu-ray. It's from 1992. I am speaking My Grandpa is a Vampire. Okay, so first of all, Al Lewis, who plays Grandpa in The Munsters, that's kind of the draw here. I mean, him acting as vampire, kind of just like being, going all in. The quick synopsis: a young boy from California goes to visit his grandpa and aunt in New Zealand and discovers that he's a goddamn vampire. And then Grandpa, I don't even know his name, I don't even remember. And then him, along with his little neighbor friend, go on a high-flying adventure. So this also, I guess, went by the names Grampire and Moonrise. Directed by David Blythe, who made Death Warmed Up, also released by Severin, and written by Michael Heath, next of kin from Severin. It was like a really fun Australian? Or was it probably is set in New Zealand then? New Zealand, that would probably be more correct. So this movie is fun, it's entertaining, it's a little bit scary. The Al Lewis of it all in this is a little bit frightening, but over everything, it is so cozy and like Halloween-y about it. I'm talking the colors, this blue, constant blue moonlighty thing happening here that I love so much. It's just this really enchanting atmosphere to the whole movie, and like such a great mood piece for Halloween time. To sit late at night and be surrounded by the fog and the moon, this giant moon, opening this movie with a beautiful soar across the night sky overlooking, you know what I was thinking with this? Kiki's Delivery Service. And she's like, that's my town there. No, she goes, where Kiki's flying at the beginning and she sees that other witch, and then she like zooms down and the music's like do and there's like a giant blue windmill. This is like what it reminded me of. He's soaring over this little carnival that's happening, which, oh god, I love it so much. A carnival on the seaside. That's the thing too. We're talking in New Zealand. The locations here are absolutely beautiful and crisp. And I'm talking like a seaside carnival situation here, and he's just like cruising around. Confusing at first because, okay, so Grandpa, I don't even know his name. Grandpa Vernon is his name. I don't recall that being his name, but I just looked it up. But at the beginning of this movie, he's soaring around, whatever. He lives with the aunt, and then he like falls. He's like scaring some children, and then he falls, and then it's like he's bedridden. And then we've got the kid from California coming to visit. Awesome 90s, late 80s, 90s like style here. To look up the hat. The friend here, it's his name is Kanziora.
That's good. I really missed him. You know Kanziora? He's about my favorite cool guy. And you're not so bad yourself. Such a wild old house. Hey, Kanziora. You remember Kanziora from last summer? Hello.
Yeah, Kanziora. How are you?
Good.
Next door to the grandpa, there's this like childhood friend, and he's a big part of this movie too. And he's constantly saying, Kanziora! Kanziora. So like, is that his first name? Did like a Kanziora count I was trying to do, but like I couldn't. I lost track, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume. But I'm gonna go ahead and say like at least 100 times, Kanziora. 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 I'm doing British accent, trying to do a New Zealand. Yeah. Kanziora. I actually love the New Zealand accent. It's really awesome. But actually, Al Lewis, Grandpa Vernon, he doesn't have an accent in this. So it like begs. The aunt does. At least I recall the aunt did. So it's like, what's going on there? But there's like some little lingo and stuff in this. And this was like really funny.
Yeah. Man, you're really tall now.
Going up.
But once more, I just love this dark blue lighting. It's just like a constant throughout the whole movie. It's nighttime for a lot of it. And so, of course, the grandson doesn't know he's a vampire. Neither does Kanziora. The aunt, it's like, does she know what's going on here? But then also it's like, well, why is he like sick and bedridden if like, I don't know. But we'll see. Instantly, Grandpa is like, I'm going to say Debbie Reynolds from Halloween Town. Just like a comfort like that. Like, let me show you guys a good time. But like not dangerous at all. I mean, actually, I mean, not quite, because in this sense, he's like a little bit scary. I never once felt threatened by Debbie in Halloween Town, but Al Lewis, it's like, I would be a little bit frightened, just like him, I don't know. The beautiful ambiance in his room, the candelabras, the red light, the beautiful moon outside the window. So not a whole lot to the story here, basically. Kanziora, he suspects something because there's this picture where he's not there. It's like, it's clear there's something not right here, but the grandson is like,
Kanziora, you have truly flipped out, man. Last one in is a double door. Come on! Woo!
Kanziora has like a lair of the White Worm poster. He's got, it's like a Bridget moment from Ginger Snaps. Pre-Ginger Snaps. It's just one of those moments. He's like a horror kid. Also, like the styles here, his hat, I went on a rampage for. Mambo space hat. I want that. Couldn't find it anywhere. Not a trace. A fairly typical story here. The kids find out Grandpa's a vampire. He actually straight up dies. Grandpa straight up dies, and that's where it gets like, well, isn't he a vampire? How is this happening? What's going on here? But apparently, I actually still came away confused. He was trying to live a normal life, and that then allowed him to die. The Grandpa funeral scene I love so much. The lighting inside the house, the candelabras, just like the orange. There's like this creepy lady that's doing tongue movements at these children, and it's like really sick and weird. I never quite understood what the motive of her was. Was she a vampire? I don't know. I don't think so. They were all giving vampire vibe. Okay, but like Kanziora's like,
Gee, he pongs a bit, eh?
he pongs a bit. I like that. I'm gonna use that. It pongs a bit in here, meaning it smells. Meaning Grandpa smelled real bad. See, there was something brewing in there, seeping out of mouth, and it just stunk. I think someone said something about it smelling like eggs, like a ripe egg or something. But then the kids played organ, and they were possessed. Their fingers became possessed. Kanziora and, yeah, see, I don't even remember the main kid's name. I'm gonna say like Zeke or something, Chris. Kanziora. Okay, but then also to find out, no, actually, I think Kanziora was his last name, but they kept calling him that because when he went home, the sister was like, Chris! And I was mad because I wanted his name to be Kanziora. Kanziora. The kids bring him back just from like their energy, their like positive energy, or just like their youth. And he comes back, the kids are freaked out, but then he shows them a good time via Let's Go Fly in the Moonlight, which is enchanting, an enchanting fly. It's this really cool thing though, where like the moon is giving the power of flight, and there's some turbulence, and the moon gets covered up by clouds, and they fall to the goddamn ground, onto the aunt's house, onto the hot tin roof. The uncle's like, what was that? What was that? He goes out, and Grandpa Vamp hisses at him and gives him a goddamn heart attack, kills him.
Get away from me, you bloody demon!
He's totally fine, but at this moment, so the aunt did know about this. In fact, Grandpa's actually been alive for around 200 years, and he was trying to live a normal existence. I don't think I'm getting this right. I didn't fully grasp the lore here, but somehow, for some reason, the aunt turns. She's kind of like blinded by the love she has for this uncle character, and he has some stakes, and he wants to kill him, and she like goes with it. She's like, we need to find him. Yeah, we do. But the kids are keeping him a secret. That's the whole thing here, pretty much. There's a big chunk of the movie where the kids are just trying to hide him and protect him. Hide him in the Kanziora shed. Denick is his name from the 18th century, he says. Okay, I think the most frightening moment probably is Kenziora waking up in the night to Grandpa scratching at the window, Salem's Lot style, going, thirsty! Anyways, one thing leads to another. The boys are protecting. There's a beach scene. The girls are practicing for talent show. Talent show approaches. First of all, listen to this. McDonald's. One major thing about this movie, a McDonald's scene. A straight up interior 90s McDonald's scene where they go on in and they actually squeeze, disgusting squeeze like a raw burger into a cup. Actually really gross. I don't like that kind of thing. And he drinks it and he's like, yeah. His tongue is like glazed.
Not bad.
We hit a climax at the carnival. This beautiful carnival once more on the beach, right off the coast. The cliffs right around the corner. And, you know, a very heartwarming ending here. The aunt, the uncle, they get him. They take him to the crypt. They're about to kill. He disappears. You think, why didn't he just do that before? If that's something that he could have done. Doesn't matter. At the base of the day, it's I must be moving on, kids. I love you so very much, children. Aunt Kenziora, you too, buddy. Anyways, to gloss over the details, I highly recommend this movie for the pure vibes of it, and it's really fun watching Al Lewis like do his thing and be really into this vampiric character. Also, there's just this charm of like the New Zealand aspect of it, hearing like the lingo. And actually, I was thinking with this movie, The Little Vampire, was that not in New Zealand? I'm thinking that was. I used to watch that movie so much, and yet I can't even recall, but I remember something like this with like the flying around, of course I recall, but seeing things like that, like cliffs, dark cliffs, almost having a similar setting to this movie before. The influence of My Grandpa is a Vampire, actually. This movie is on Blu-ray from Severin, but you can also watch it on Tubi, which is where I watched it, but I do want the Blu-ray. I would love to own. This is something so to pop on. You could actually totally pop this on. I say this a lot for movies, but could totally pop this on at like a gathering because of the lighting. And like that scene there with the kids outside and that red light coming from the top, I love it so much. It's really an enchanting movie, to say that once more. That's the word, the overall word I would use. Next week, I'm thinking something not family friendly. I'm thinking absolute blind watch, something perhaps Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging. If you've seen My Grandpa is a Vampire, if it was like one of those childhood growing up movies for you on VHS or something, comment about it. What's your memory of My Grandpa is a Vampire? This is definitely one of those movies that could perhaps give a little bit of a fright. Just like the dying aspect of it and the Al Lewis aspect, because he can be a little bit frightening. I feel like this could definitely scare a child. I will talk to you guys next week. Check out the playlist I have on here. Cooper's Halloween mixtape playlist. I'm updating at a consistent rate. Also, the Halloween movie marathon list. I'll add movies perhaps I talk about here. My Grandpa is a Vampire. Is it on YouTube? If it is, I'll add it to the list.